Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the most merciful and the most beneficent. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, my dear students and my dear listeners. No work, no success can be justified without the blessings and bounties of Allah Almighty. If He says yes, then it's done. If He says no, then nothing or nobody can surpass His supreme powers. There are no ifs and buts parallel to His will, but these are we humans, the worldly creatures, who rely on conditions, and our survival is dependent on circumstances. So as we are constrained to follow the particular course of fate, we have developed certain ways of communication. For that purpose, we get use of different conditional sentences. That is specifically my point of lecture today, and I'm really excited for sharing it with you. We are going to discuss the first conditional sentences today. We are going to discuss the first conditional sentences with its structure, its all forms, and hundreds of examples, only to make you comprehend this interesting topic. I know you have done few practices already and you're quite familiar with this concept. So this video is going to find you with a great revision of the topic. Whereas those students who couldn't grab the idea, this lesson is going to be an excellent introduction to them. So let's get started. First of all, we must clearly know that what is a conditional sentence. A conditional sentence is also called a conditional clause or if clause. Such type of a sentence is used to express an action or a condition in the main clause. A condition is something that happens only when something else happens. Many conditional forms exist in English sentences. Let's have a look at the different forms. You can see zero conditional, type 1, type 2, and type 3 conditional. And all of these different conditions refer to be used for different occasions. For example, when we talk about the zero conditional, it tells that what actually happens as a general fact. That is always true. If we go to the type 1 condition, it is a situation telling us that if you do this, then the result is quite likely to be like this. Then type 2 conditional, where you can imagine different situations. Type 3 conditional tells that what can be the outcome of a thing which didn't happen. So with this bird's eye view of all these concepts, one thing is for sure, that conditional clauses come in two clauses. Like in the first clause you have a condition, and the second clause has a main clause where you get the result. So we should be clear about this, that the conditional sentences come in two clauses with a comma in the middle, and the conjunction if is really necessary in all these sentences. And you all know that conjunction is used to combine two ideas together in a sentence. Now, is it clear with you that what does the word condition means? Condition is something that you have to do, or a situation that must exist in order to let the result come. Let me quote here the simplest of examples. Like, you will get a glass of orange juice if you squeeze the orange. This is how the relationship between two clauses exists. One relies on the other part. The first conditional is also called the possible conditional sentence. Here we are talking about possible future result that might happen or might not happen as well. As today's lesson is especially about the first conditional, so we must have a clear idea that why do we use this first conditional and when we should use the first conditional. So the answer for the first question is that we must use the first conditional because we have to express our ideas with clarity. And replying to the second part of the question, that when do we use, we must be clear that we use the first conditional to express our thoughts, predictions, superstitions, plans, promises, offers, suggestions, and warning. So all of these things talk about the situation that's likely to happen in future. For example, if you leave the milk out, it will spoil. Now, this is a common and general situation happening at homes, moms advising the young girls and boys who are not aware of the situation and its result. So it's a kind of advice or warning. In if clause, word if sometimes can also be replaced by the conjunction when and used for the situations like this. When the sun sets, it will get cold. Suppose you're about to leave the house and you are wearing only a t-shirt. So your mom will definitely say once to remind you with such a conditional sentence that you must wear a jacket or you will get ill with cold. I think you surely would have got a clear idea that what is a conditional sentence. For further details, I will give you more explanation that first conditional sentences describe real future events that are very possible. Andrew, I'm going to a party in London tonight. Mark, hurry up, the bus leaves soon. Andrew, if I miss the bus, I will take the train. In the first part, where it is a condition, that clause starts with the word if. Then there is a comma, and there is the consequences of the first condition. I will take the train. That if I miss the bus, what would be the consequence? I will take the train. The first conditional describes a specific future event. We are not describing here a fact or a regular action that is related with the zero conditional type of sentences. Now, talking about the forms or choices of the first conditional sentences, I would like to say that there are two forms or two choices of types of sentence to write or two types of structures to write the first conditional of sentences. As it is mentioned on the screen, that if is really very important with the condition followed by the result. For example, if I'm late, I'll call you. There you can see a comma separating the two clauses. That's really very important thing to remember. Now, the second way. Second choice is that we can reverse the order or change the placing of clauses and write or say like that. I'll call you if I'm late. Now, here we will not use a comma, and that we have to remember the difference between these two clauses and two types of sentences. We can also use present simple and modal for the first conditional sentences. If you do your homework, you may watch television. We use may in the first conditional to give permission in the future. May is quite formal. Another example, if you eat your vegetables, you can play in the garden. Now, may and can be replaced, but the difference only exists that over here is that may is quite formal and can is quite informal, and the informal language is mostly used in spoken language of day-to-day life. If you feel ill, you should rest. Now we use should in the first conditional to give advice in the future. So I hope it's really clear that how and when you can use the first conditional. Present simple plus going to. For the result, we can also use going to plus base form of the verb, that is the first form of the verb. If I see her, I'm going to invite her to the party. If you don't study, you're going to fail the exams. Now, in both of these examples, you can see that the condition clause starts with the word if, but after the comma, that follows with the result clause in the base form of with the base form of verb, we have used the phrase going to. Now, going to is slightly stronger than the future simple. So in this structure, going to is slightly stronger because here we are emphasizing the results. We are concentrating more on the results. Therefore, by using going to describes a strong intention or plan for the future. So we are more sure or more decided with this phrase going to in first conditional sentences. Let's move to the most obvious and the most important part of these different structures of the first conditional sentences. Verb tenses. Yes, these are really very essential to understand completely the first conditional sentences. When I say, if I miss the bus, I will take the train. If I'm late, I'll call you. Here, I'll is the contraction form of I will. The condition takes the present simple. If I am late, it will be written in the present simple tense. And I'll call you, the result takes the future simple. The condition does not take the future simple form. A very important point to note here is that condition doesn't take the future form. Be careful, this is the very common mistake by the English language learners. Another important thing to understand is that although the form of condition is the present simple, the meaning is in future. If you have still some ambiguity, let's practice with some more examples. You can clearly see the structure in front of your eyes. If, the conjunction, with the simple present tense, and followed by the simple future tense. To talk about the possibilities in the present or in the future is the exact purpose to use this present conditional sentence. Let's consider these examples. If it rains, I will stay at home. If I wake up late, I'll miss the bus. And if it's sunny, we'll go to the park. It's quite clear with these examples, starting with the if clause, that one condition is reliant on the next part of the sentence. If Joanne leaves, Paula will be sad. If I find your email, I'll send you the picture. If you study hard, you will pass your exams. So I hope all the examples have make you comprehend this topic clearly. For understanding it much better, it's important for you to consider all the forms of present simple, the positive, the negative, and the interrogative. We must be clear that whenever we are using which helping verb or the auxiliary verb, we have to write and it will change into the negative. So which words we have to add, and when it is the interrogative form, what would be the form of sentence? Let's look at some of the examples. The positive sentence says, I walk, you, she, he, it, we, they walk. Negative form of sentences will become like this. I don't walk. She doesn't walk. They don't walk. Here you can see the difference of do and doesn't auxiliary verbs clearly. Not only that, spelling rules must be revised once again when you are dealing with the base form of verbs like cry. It will become cries with IES. And you must know if you are following the simple present tense where you will write ES, IES or the S with the verbs. So I hope that's not a new lesson for you regarding the present simple. It's only a part of revision because you have to write the correct verb tenses in the conditional sentence. Now I'm quite confident that you will be able to understand the concept and solve the following examples. Let's have a look. This is the activity 1. It seems quite easy. Let's move to the next one. That's activity 2. Last but not the least, I hope this video finds you in the best of health and you are quite clear how you would solve and how you would deal with the first conditional sentences. See you soon. Next time. Allah Hafiz.